All right, hey, here we are at the Boise Fort Boise, and you can see I'm doing a little 360. And this is actually an active reserve component right now. Let's go that way, and um, and then this is the gate to the Fort Boise, and that's kind of the modern gate. And that's a big old huge federal building. Uh, so all this area that I'm kind of riding around is federal or state land. And here's an interesting thing. I actually read about this a little bit before I just struck upon it. But this old cabin is the oldest structure, family structure in Boise. And it was started in June of 1863. And here's a nice little diorama of information about it. The O'Farrell, so there's an O'Farrell street close to where I live. And then this is a little ditty about Boise starting out. And it was actually over there. It was actually over there originally, and then they moved it to this side, I guess, for some reason or another. I don't know, 30 years ago or something. But anyway, I just realized that Fort Boise was, they started to build it on July 3rd of 1863. So any history aficionados would know that that is the date, July 3rd, 1863, that the largest battle in the northern hemisphere, or actually the western hemisphere, was decided, and that was the Battle of Gettysburg. It started on July 1st, and I guess it was probably over by July 4th of 1863. So when Pickett's Charge and the Battle of the Little Round Top and the orchard, the peach orchard, and all that stuff was going on, they were building. They were starting to build. They decided to build Fort Boise here that day. So anyway, those are some of the original stables. And as I understand it, there were got loading docks now for semis, but I don't think they had those back in the day. So I read someplace that they had 30 horses that they used for their cavalry mounts, but then they also had another 70 additional animals, probably draft animals, pulling wagons and things of that nature. But anyway, so this is, we went through the gate, the front gate, and now we're kind of going around. They do have some construction going on to the right. They're always adding on here. But some of these you can see are the original. Like my guess is that this one is an original old brick building, and so this one, now they've made them into some kind of warehousey things or something or another. And then this looks like an old original building here, and but then it's added on, and you know, the brick doesn't quite match, but it still kind of has that nice brick. This is the old part. Has a brick feel. And here we go. Here's some more construction going on. I'm not sure what this building is, but see, they're building away. They've been building on it for a long time. And this is a nice sort of promenade. See, off to the left is newer construction mixed in with, I think, some of the older stuff. Yeah, who knows how old things are. But anyway, this is, that's a big building there. Whoa. There's like a little pavilion-y place, hang out. And now this is a, gotta go off the trail a little bit because we couldn't really. Well, yeah, maybe I could, but I don't want to fall. So, anyway, and let's see. Oh yeah. So this looks like it might be the main headquarters building now, and eventually the fort was decommissioned, and then they decided to use it as a veterans home. They had a veterans home farther away from here, but something happened to that. I think it burned down, and then they decided, well, hey, we got that vacant Fort Boise, so why don't we turn that into a rest home for the soldiers? And so that's what they've done now. And I'm just going on. This is some old concrete here. I'll bet it's from 1910 or so. I don't see any markings, but I see a lot around. And then here is the, I hope they don't think I'm a Russian spy or anything, but those are some of the 5-ton trucks, and I'm not sure what the unit is, but there is an active Army Reserve unit here still. So, see, it says no trespassing, so no trespassing. So nice. Oh, that's the Hemmets, and the Hemmets, they came in like those tankers are Hemmets. They came in the mid-'80s. Oh, and there's a bunch of Humvees over there. So, anyway, let's see, what is this? 321st Engineer, 391st Engineer Company. I don't know. Anyway, so there is still a little bit of forting going on with the Fort Boise. And it's a nice, I mean, you can see up there in the foothills, and there's some, I don't know if it's a water thing up there, but it's a pretty neat old fort, and they've got an awfully lot of buildings, and they're mostly made to look old, like the original brick ones. And then let's see, here is the I think this is actually a rest home that I'm looking at straight ahead. And here's kind of a memorial sort of place with all the flags of all of the Army, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard. They don't really count. No, I'm just kidding. Space Force, Air Force, whatever. So, anyway, I'm not sure why they're at half-mast, but they are. And, oh, I know. Let's go over here. There's an original building that was started in 1863, and I think it was finished that year also. I did stop by here earlier. And this is quarried. The stone was quarried from Table Rock. So look at how nice that is. And I think it even has a little plaque you can read on there. Built in 1863 as part of Fort Boise, originally used as quartermaster building. So that's pretty good. 1863. That's like 100 and some years old. So, and then let's see. That's the Idaho State Veterans Home. So maybe one day I'll wind up there. And this is kind of cool because it does go, maybe I'll come down and do that later. Yeah, that's a better idea. So, oh, and here's another one of these nice old stone buildings, 1863. And then they added on some of the brick. That was original surgeons' quarters. So, and then these are, this is probably built, I don't know, the 1860s or 70s, but that's an original officers' quarter building. Now, this next one is a newer building, but it still has the brick to make it look and fit in with the other ones, so they don't feel like they're out of place, I guess. So, and these officers, here's another officers' quarter building. They were kind of a cookie cutter. I've seen the same building style in Fort Robinson, Nebraska, and it's another stone quarried original. Here's a newer building made to look old. I'll keep on saying that. Anyway, the Fort Robinson in Nebraska. It was a cavalry outpost in the Panhandle of Nebraska, and then they turned it into a state park since. And we stayed at buildings that are exactly like this. And then I also saw some buildings in Vancouver, Washington, just north of Portland, and there was a Fort Vancouver there too. In fact, that's where the people that came to build Fort Boise came from, or at least the commanding officer did. So, and then he also, along the way, he was commissioned with finding a place to build a fort. I don't even know if it was called Boise at the time, but there were two big mining concerns. There was Silver City south of Boise in the Oahe Mountains, and then there was Idaho City north of here. And if you drew a line that was directly connected those two, and then where it crossed the Oregon Trail, which I guess the Oregon Trail started in the 1840s. So anyway, the Oregon Trail was going, east to west, and Idaho City and Silver City were going north to south. Where those two crossed is where they decided to put the fort. So, and that's how little Boise town got started, because then the town was platted just south of the fort. So anyway, this part's not very interesting where I'm going right now. It's kind of a parking lot. I think that's part of the fort. But I was going to show you this proximity to the foothills. It's so nice. And you've got runners and bikers and all kinds of activity. And this is, I think, part of the drainage canal. But Boise Braves High School, they have their soccer field right yonder. You can't see it that well because of the trees, but anyway, I used to ride over here a lot. And there is a purpose for me going up this way, in addition to just enjoying a nice early fall day here in Boise. We're going to the military reserve, sponsored by the Parks and Recreation. And it's really a nice area. And I think it goes to a gravel road pretty soon. But what I was going to point out is that there is a cemetery up this way. So you see there's a lot of activity. I mean, it's kind of like a late fall day here rather than it's like a late summer day rather than a late fall day. Anyway, I might have to edit a little bit of that. So there's some dog walkers. Oh, that's going to be a long ways to go, but I guess I might as well. What else have I got to do? I can just gather on. I think that there used to be, well, there is actually a little bit of a creek there, and that's why the fort was located exactly where it was, because they were able to draw water and stuff from that creek. And I've been over here for a long time. So this is all protected area, and as far as I understand, there won't be any homes developed in this area. So it's really one of the nice things about living in Boise, in that they have this thing called what is it? Well, River to Ridges, Rivers to the Ridges trail system, and there's all kinds of trails around here for bicycling and running, walking, hiking, dog walking, horses, you name it. There's actually even some for motorcycles. But so this is Fort Boise Military Cemetery, and I think we'll go up here a little bit. And you can see yonder, not that far, those are houses that are kind of in my neighborhood. As a crow flies, they're not very far from me. And they've got scenic views. So, anyway, I don't even know if you can go in here or not. Let's take a peek. Looks like they might have a gate. Whoa! Hold on a second. Oh, yeah. Oh. So, you can see some of these George Rowland, U.S. 6th Infantry Indian Wars. Yeah. Down. Some unknown soldiers. And then I do know that they had some up there that have I'm gonna get my one wheel as long as it's open. Whew. I know that I remember being here one other time, and there were some like infants. Lots of infants used to die back in the 1800s, so they didn't have that good of health care. But I don't know if I'm going to find the time to look at all of those. But anyway, so, and one interesting thing here too, I should point out, is that they used to have spikes along here, wherever there were, it's a quarter. There were spikes, but anybody know what the problem with the spikes on the fences out here is? Your deer, sometimes, that can't quite clear the fence, they wind up getting, they wind up on the fence, they can't get off, and they die in misery and pain. So they've done that just within the last 10 years, I think. They cut all the spikes off. So that way the deer don't get impaled on them and die a horrible death. So, oh, look at there. I guess that they made this one wheel friendly. Yay! And I'm just going to shut the gate. Wow. Okay, I left a quarter. There's a quarter there. I don't know. It was symbolic for somebody, so we didn't need to steal. Oh, look at, see up there on the top of the ridge, there's a fella riding his bicycle. So, anyway, this is a really nice area. And they're keeping it for the public to recreate in instead of building houses. And as I was saying, it's part of the Ridge to Rivers system. And the ridges are, of course, the foothills that go all the way out parallel with the river, basically. I think this is part of the old creek down there. And it's dry now. Sometimes it has more water and stuff back. Oh, there's some more bicyclists. So I'm not lying to you. But this is all part of the Fort Boise establishment. And now it's a recreation area. So this is kind of a combo of well, it's history, but it's also modern day what we do here in little old Boise town. More bicyclists. I don't think that guy's going to get hit by a car, and if he does, he'll be in a lot of trouble. I couldn't see him. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So, there's a puppy dog. Hello, hello. Yeah, we might as well keep on going down this nice trail. Maybe we'll run into some more people, who knows. But it's one of the things we like to do out here. This is unusual for 9th of November to be almost 60 degrees in the late afternoon. Not unheard of, just unusual. Ooh, it looks like a teepee. I don't think it is, but it looks like one. See what I'm talking about? Right there. Woohoo! Here we go. So, with the register, and it goes down to the river, and Boise has a very nice bike path along both sides of the river most of the way, and it starts, well, in the middle of town, but it goes all the way out to the Lucky Peak Reservoir, and then all the way to Eagle too. So, woo. All right. Oh, you know what? As long as we're here, when I was talking about the ridges, Ridge to Rivers Trail, you can see that's all the different trails. The one on the left is just the military reserve trails, and then to the right is the overall system. So,
is that the plus too? Oh no, yours is next. Sorry, I was gonna say I've got the old plus.
Oh, cool. So anyway, this is downtown Boise. We're somewhere around here, and then this goes all the way up. This is Bogus Basin, and then this is the exact right where we are right here, the Cottonwood Trailhead Creek, and then you can see the elevations and such there. So anyway, we're pretty lucky to live here. All right. Okay. I kind of had to play off that one aficionado when he's riding a bike, but anyway, I just didn't have time for him because I'm making a video, and I don't know if I understood that or not. But anyway, so here we are. Whoa! You can see that actually the cemetery was a fair bit from the actual fort back in the day, so it was a ways to go to bury them fellers. But I think it might be, it probably is the oldest cemetery in Boise. And I'm not sure when they quit adding people to it, because I know that there's some military on the Morris Hill Cemetery also. There's the one-wheel guy. So anyway, we're coming back to the fort. This is getting to be kind of a long, I don't know what that thing is up there. I'll have to look into it. So anyway, more fort buildings. And then there is some other cool stuff around here too, I should point out, as long as we're here. There's a dirt bike park, dog park, I know that. So, in fact, maybe we'll just cut this, because we did see most everything here. They did turn, there's that big, biggest building is where the VA hospital is now. And that whole complex, there's a lot of buildings that they've been adding on to, but support the VA. So these VA guys are pretty lucky because they live in one of the nicest towns, in one of the nicest states, and they're in one of the nicest